All right, welcome back. So today our topic will be time and attendance. So let's start. Time and attendance. All right, so this is my task schedules here. I will delete one. And okay, so let's follow the rules here. So after we click the time and attendance, you will see that we have the attendance settings and also we have the shift schedule, really important one, right? And the records handling and also attendance report. So before we check the records, we should know that how to set the shift schedule and also what do you mean by those attendance settings here. Alright, so actually you can follow your steps because for me, I'm used to set the rule first and overtime rule first and then checkpoints and then the shift schedule. So let's follow, number one general rule. So number one, define your weekend. So this is the default ones. I think this is for some countries. They have weekend on Friday and Saturday. But for me, I need to choose Saturday and Sunday, all right? And absent settings. So absent settings means that absent if checking late. If you check in late, for how long will be absent? All right, so if you check out early, then for how long is absent? 30 minutes, 30 minutes. All right, so if you have no check-in records, so it will be marked as absent. Or if you have no checkout records, it also will be marked as absent. All right, and auto-calculate attendance. So previously before the version 1.5 actually, the auto-calculate attendance time is 4 o'clock in the morning. But now, from version 1.5, we have this function that you can define the auto-calculate attendance time. All right, so for me, I want to modify that 7 o'clock. Or maybe, yeah, this is my settings. This is step 1, general rules. All right, step 2, overtime. So if you work overtime, then the boss will calculate the overtime salary for you. All right, so before we check the salary, we need to define the rules, right? So the work hour rate. So please pay attention here. The overtime level is not the salary. Multiples 3 times or 4 times. It's about the working hour, right? Okay, so now let's define the overtime here. So we have level 1, level 2, and level 3. In work days, if you calculate the overtime, so we can choose the mode by total work hours or maybe by the time points. So let's see the total work hours first. All right, so if exceeds required hours for 30 minutes, let's say 30 minutes, if you work overtime for 30 minutes, then your work overtime will be valid, okay? Which means that if my go home time is like 5, so if I work like 5:30, then it will be it will be valid, right? And then daily overtime level, so 2 hours level 1, 2 to 6, these 4 hours is level 2, and this is level 3. All right, so let's have an example. What if my schedule actually starts from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. All right, so this is my dream that I can start working at 8 and go home at 4. Anyway, so let's say this is a normal shift schedule, okay? But now, so today I need to do recordings for Hack Central Pro, so I need to work overtime. So how about I go home? What if I go home like 10 p.m.? So let's calculate how many work hours will I have. Sorry guys. All right, so I work overtime to 10 o'clock. So if I follow the rules here, which means that 4 to 6 o'clock means 2 hours multiples what? So 2 hours multiples here. If I set the overtime level 1 is 2, 3, 4, then this work hour rate will be follow these rules, alright? So let's do it. 2 hours, because 0 to 2 means level 1, right? Then 2 hours multiples 2 times, alright? So 2 hours to 6 hours means level 2, means that 6 to 10, 4 hours, right? Multiples 3, alright, which means that for this part 12 hours and for this part is 4 hours. Okay, so 4 hours and 12 hours means that my work overtime is 16 hours. But for today I start work from 8 o'clock. Okay, so 8 plus 16, so my work hour for today means 24 hours. So this is how to calculate the work hours for overtime. Alright? And overtime on weekends. Alright, before that, I have a question for you. I said that if exceeds required hours for 30 minutes will be valid overtime, right? So what if I go home at 31 past 5 o'clock? Well, my overtime work hours will be calculated as 31 minutes or 1 minute. Actually, it's 31 minutes, okay? Because 30 minutes will be will be valid, but 31, we will calculate your work time as 31 minutes, not 1 minute. But how about, all right, 29 past 5 o'clock, then you will have no records for the valid overtime, okay? Overtime on weekends, you can also define the duration work longer than 60 minutes will be valid. But for the weekends, I'm sorry, if you need the maximum overtime, then I can say that I only give you, I only calculate 8 hours. Only 8 hours. If you more than 8 hours, I'm sorry, because I set the maximum overtime and level 3 or level 2, okay? How about holidays? Holidays is still 60 minutes, all right, and works hour 8, all right. But on holidays, you need to add some, holiday settings. So tree planting day, all right, or anyway. And also, if you do not want this holidays, we can click add new and add more. So I think the next one maybe is a Labor Day. So it's regular, right? Because the holiday type, you can also set them as regular or irregular. Alright, so this Labor Day will starts from May 1st. Alright, and for this year we'll have 5 days. If the days are fixed, then we can choose repeat annually. But for China's Labor Day, actually for today is 5 days, but for next year we're not sure, so I will not choose repeat annually. Alright. So for the holidays, we can set 16, all right, 16. And how about some irregular holiday? All right, Mother's Day. So for Mother's Day, all right, so start date, okay, so I think it should be the 3rd or 4th Sunday. I'm not sure. Sorry guys, I'm not sure if it's right. Anyway, just maybe 1 day or 2 days. Alright, so if you need to repeat annually, then click add and then finish. Okay, so for holiday settings, you can choose regular or irregular based on the holidays. Alright, so step 2, that's the overtime. Alright, and step 3. So step 3, you see that we have a lot of check-in, check-out points here. So from version 1.5, we support the face recognition cameras to be used as check-in, check-out points also. So now, which means that you can use the access point and also you can use the face recognition cameras to do the check-in, check-out. All right, so let's try. So both check-in, check-out. If you want only check-in, then check that. So I want those photos on my check-in, check-out points, and also I want the cameras. Alright, so Okay, so this camera and also the doors are my check-in, check-out points. If you want to modify the, the type in a batch, then check and modify. All right, so step 1, general rule, step 2, overtime rule, and step 3, attendance, check-in, check-out points. All right, and now let's go on with the shift schedule. So I have already got one, start work from 8 to 5, and now I want a new one. So this one starts from 9 to 6 o'clock, okay? You can choose repeat by week or by days, if you have this kind of schedule, then choose days. And for the weeks, we can choose repeat by 1 week or 2 weeks, because, for some companies, they have, for the first week, they rest for 2 days, and for the next week, they will rest for 1 day. So for this kind of schedule, you can choose repeat every 1 week or every 2 weeks. So I will choose the normal one first, the regular one, and normal shift. So, sorry, not this one. Starts from 9 o'clock to 6. Okay. And save. Of course, I will choose save and copy too. And before that, so make sure that these information are right. So schedule from 9 to 6, and minimum work hours should be 8. And do you want flexible mode? Maybe you will allow the late or early leave. And maybe for some flexible period, you can choose the flexible duration. You see that after I choose flexible period, you will see that this is my flexible. If I want 1 hour, all right, which means that you can come at 9 or you can come at 10, all right. So this is my flexible duration. All right, break time. So about the break time, we have the auto deduct, and also we have the must check. So you can see the difference by clicking this hint here. Auto deduct, which means that the rest time are fixed. So if I set them as 1 hour, all right, so your break duration will be 1 hour. But if I set them as must check, which means that when you take the rest, when you take the break, you should, swap the card. Like have a break, and when you're back, you should also swap the card. So if I set them as 12 to 13, which means that this is your break duration, like lunch time. But maybe for today, I go to lunch at 12 o'clock, but I go back to my office at 30 past 12, which means that my break time only 30 minutes, then my work time will be 30 minutes more, okay? So that's the difference between auto deduct and must check. And also card swapping rule is also important. So question for you, my schedule time starts 9, right? So why do I have a 7 here? So question 1, can I modify? Of course we can modify. Drag or maybe input the values here. So this function here means that this is your card swapping duration. So I know that your schedule work time starts from 9, but what if you have a jet flight, when you travel from other countries back to your office, you have a jet flight, so you come to work very early. So at 7 you come, so you swap the card, then it's valet check-in. Otherwise, if you do not set the card swapping duration, then your valet check-in, your early check-in will be, no use. All right, so that's the rules here. And then save and copy tool. So save and copy tool, Tuesday to Friday. All right, and then we need to check the calculate mode. Do you want to calculate by first in and last out, or maybe you want to calculate by each check-in and each check-out? So if you want the number 2, each check-in, check-out, please input the minimum interval, which means that every time you take a break, please, swap the card. So if you set them as 10 minutes, so if I go to the maybe ladies room, I go to the ladies room about 9 minutes. So 9 minutes, if I set them as 10, okay, then I'm back to office, swapping the card. Okay, it's 9 minutes, then it's okay. But if after I go to the ladies room and back to office, oh, it's 11 minutes. I'm sorry, I will calculate your break time as 11 minutes, okay? All right, so actually in Hikvision we're using first in and last out, and then enable TNA on device. So if you enable the TNA status on device, so to make sure they have the same logic and same records, please also enable here, all right? And then the records will follow the records on the device, all right? So do you need to do to calculate the check-in check-out on holidays? Of course we don't, right? So if you want disable on holiday, then check that. Okay, so check that and click add, then finish. Okay, so that's how we do the settings here. Okay, so this is how we do the settings. So let's do a quick review about that. Step 1, Step 2, overtime, Step 3, checkpoints, and Step 4, define the shift schedule. Alright, actually we're not finished yet, right? Because we have a schedule, but you know, who will use this schedule, right? Who will use this schedule? So here we have assign. Assign to which group? I didn't introduce you the attendance group in person yet, so we can click add a new. Alright? 我马上结束，我在录音，稍等一下。Alright, so I will choose assign and add new. Okay, so this attendance group will be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So this is my attendance group here. Alright, effective period and check-in not required or check-out not required. If you do not need check-in or check-out, then check. And effective for overtime. So this is very important for the overtime work hours. If you calculate, if you define the overtime there, but if you didn't check here, then your employees will not be paid by the overtime hours. Okay, so effective for overtime. And time zone, and also relate to person group. Remember the person group in the access control part, because we can use the access points to do the check-in, check-out, and also we can use the access group, and also the person group you have already checked that. So for hack staff, I will use, the attendance group starts from 9 o'clock to 6 p.m. Alright, and then save. That's it. So that's the settings. So if you're not sure whether these hack staff are using this attendance schedule or not, we can go to person to double check. Attendance group. Alright, so here, because in hack staff we only have Sherry here, so now hack staff are using the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, so this is my hack staff. Okay, so only Sherry will be here, and also the related groups is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, so this is how we do the settings after you do the settings, general rule, overtime, attendance, checkpoints, and leave type. Of course, the leave type is that you can define the day of overtime, exchange, holiday, or business trip, or go out on business, or maybe sick leave or parental leave, something like that. And also you can customize the leave type. And also I think we have question that can you do that 3-shift schedule? I'm not sure. I call it shift schedule in English is right or not, which means that for some factories they want 3 or 4 shift schedules. So if you want those kind of requirements, we go to time and we don't go to time and attendance, we go to the person. Let's say that if you need person, the person in, so for the task group, for the workers, for 3 shift, then save. Alright, so I want person in this group, have, alright, I want them they have 3 shift. Alright, so 3 shift, temporary schedule. So you can choose schedule like this. Alright, so I'm sorry, it's not temporary schedule. Here, number 1, number 2, number 3. Yes, so number 4. So for one group, you can have 4 shift schedules. So if you have the, maybe some employee, they work like to 0 to 8 in the morning, and after the rest, they will work from 8 p.m. to 24 p.m. So if they have multiple shift schedule here, you can go back to the attendance group and click the attendance group name. Scroll down, we have a shift schedule. Alright, so number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, and also relate to the work 3 shift. Okay, so that's how we do the settings for the time and attendance. So after the schedule, we can go to the, sorry, not visitor, we should go to time and attendance to check the records. For the records, we have the data records and also we have the reports, which means that the Hack Central Pro can use this data to generate various reports. Alright, so this is a records here, and this is my records, Sherry, early leave. Alright, so for yesterday, I guess, yeah, for yesterday, early leave, and my actual work time starts 6. Oh, wow, my work time is really early, right? So even though I work for 8 hours and my status is still early leave. Alright, and also my break time will also be displayed here. So OT1, OT2 means overtime level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, so if you do not need much information like this, you can do the filter for your for your page. I only want ID, date, group, schedule work time, required work hours, actual work time, late, early leave, and that's it. Okay, that's it. That's all I want. Okay, and if you want to, you see that I want to calculate, all the stuff from Hack Stuff. Then I can choose calculate again. All persons or maybe specified cameras. Specified persons. And click OK. Okay, so for Hunter, he is absent. And for Sherry, early leave, and Stock is absent. So you will see that the person in these groups, they don't have. I think they need to. The boss need to talk with them. All right. So the state is absent. And if you want to check all the records for Hunter, click the name. All right. So absent. So how about Sherry? Absent, holiday, absent, early leave. All right. Because I always forgot to do check in, check out. With my test access points. So that's why you will see that all my records is so beautiful. So here, if you want to modify the, actually for yesterday, I didn't, I don't have early leave. I work till 8 o'clock, in evening. Then you can click menu handle. So you can correct the records. So checking, all right, it's 6 o'clock. And my checkout time is, it's 20, yeah. All right. Okay. And if you want apply for leave, after yesterday, maybe I apply for a sick leave. All right, so and click save. Okay, and then no attendance records. Okay. All right, so absent. Okay, so if you want to do the batch work, here we have a batch handle. So click batch handle. You can do the correct check-in, check-out records for all the person or for the person from which attendance group. All right. And if you need the regular report, so set regular report, then we have attendance report. You will see that the page will switch to the reports in the system settings here. So when you choose the report type, you can choose department report, daily report. Okay. All right. And this is about records actually, it's about the data. And if you want to check reports, we also have various scans for the normal attendance and abnormal attendance and also overtime. So if you only want to check abnormal like early leave or absence, then choose the type and also export settings here. And I think for some customers, they want the access records, with the PDF or the TXT format, so it's better for them to do the integration things. Speaking of integrations, we also I also want to introduce the third-party integration. We call it data exchange. So in system settings, we have a data interchange, and we have two modes. So it's better to go to the web client locally. All right, system. Okay, logging again. Actually, in version 1.5, we have this function. We call it data interchange, but this is only at that time we only have option 1. But in version 1.6, we have 2 tabs. So we have database synchronization and also we have access records dump. Okay. So for database synchronization, which means that after you swap the card, of course, you are not using Hack Central's time and attendance module. You are using our access control devices, and also you are using Hack Central Pro's access control module. But maybe the time and attendance design cannot follow your rules in your country, so you can use the data interchange, for synchronize the data to your third-party database. This third-party database actually is your software database, right? So in version 1.5, we only support SQL Server and PostgreSQL, but in version 1.6, we support 1, 2, 3 MySQL. Okay. Input IP address, database name, and test connection, and also the table name. Then after you swipe the card, then the records will be synchronized to your database immediately. Alright, so this is number 1. And number 2 is about access records dump. This is new feature for version 1.6. Alright, so saving path. I modified the saving path to the desktop because I want to show you the records with the Excel file to you later on. The person ID, first name, last name, the attendance status, and dump every 5 minutes. And also you can modify the interval here. Alright, so this is the data interchange because I modified the saving path here. Alright. Alright, so you will see the person name, person group, and also department attendance group status will be displayed here because I choose every 5 minutes, to dump the records. So every 5 minutes you will see that the data will be read by the attendance software. But please make sure that your third-party software has been, installed with the Hack Central server in one server. All right. Okay, so that's the time and attendance work on Hack Central Pro. All right.